Okay, so let's start. Today it's gonna be so beautiful. My name is Cussons, and I'm gonna tell you a few stories about myself, and then we go ahead. Um, I had poliomyelitis when I was a little over a year, and by age 6 years, I had become perfectly suicidal. Okay, had become perfectly suicidal. But there are some things I learned that helped me to move from VODP, very ordinary disabled person, to a very, very important personality. And that thing is what I strive to teach everybody and anybody I come in contact with. I strive to do that. Why? Because I found out that you can be as great as you want, you can be as powerful as you want, you can be as anything as you want if you can just understand the power of developing yourself. Immediately you develop yourself, everything starts coming into place, starts coming into perspective. Now, one of the greatest problems we have in Africa is the problem of the African thinking that he needs somebody to deliver him. Okay? He needs somebody to deliver him. That is not true. You don't need anybody to deliver you. You don't need anybody to deliver you. You and your God, you are more than enough. So, what do you need to do? You need to start understanding the algorithms of life. What are the things you need to do in order to become as great as you want? Look at all the great people that you can see around you. Yes, all of them, they have something in common. Just look around. You will see what they have in common. You will notice that they are serious with their lives. You will notice that they do things in a certain way. And that is why we are bringing towards one of the great men of our time. You know, is a guy that has done so much for himself, but very humble, down to earth. And, every day, what he's achieved tends to nothing with what he is achieving. We want to welcome Hyeladi Haruna. Hyeladi, um, can you kindly come on, please?
All right, Doctor. Great. Is evening, everybody out there. I don't know if you can hear me.
We are hearing you perfectly well.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Doctor, for such an honor for me to be on this show, and I'm so excited to spend this time with you, especially this moment. And
How is Dubai?
yeah, well, here everything is great, and
Good,
we're just warming up, going up, and life is just amazing. It's amazing. Yeah,
wonderful.
and well, I'm excited, just like I said, to be here. Especially, I've been trying to see how I can connect, and this is, I feel, it's just a perfect moment for me to, to get to meet you, and also for us to share ideas together and to see probably, who knows, maybe some ideas that we may share may be able to affect some people's life out there positively in one way
Hmm.
or the other. So I'm definitely excited to be here, Doctor. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
having me on
Hilary.
the show.
Thank you. Thank you. The question we want to start with, I've been opportunity to listen to some of your questions, or rather some of your stories. Now, the question I want to ask to start with is, who is Hyeladi, how can you define, how can you explain yourself? Because, explaining ourselves is one of the most difficult. So, so who is Hyeladi Haruna, engineer?
Oh my
Okay.
God.
I caught you there.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming actually. And
Well,
I would say fortunately, unfortunately, this is a question that nobody have ever asked me before. Um, yes, except for the fact that people ask, "Who are you?"
mm,
And that is a very difficult question to answer, because oftentimes I meet people, when I ask them, I say, "Who are you?" Then they tell me their name.
mm,
But that's their name. That's not who they are.
yeah.
I met someone, I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I am engineer." Well, that is your profession. That is not who you are.
Mm.
I am this. So answering that question, it's a bit a very technical question to say, because, and if I have to answer that in terms of who is Hyeladi, then we have to go spiritual. And
We want it. We want it. Please. Go ahead. Oh dear.
and I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to also be an opportunity for me during the course of this session to also share, should in case that question is being thrown out to people, because Doctor, what I figured out is that many people out there don't even know who they are.
100%. That's why I'm asking you this question, because I've listened to you and found out that what made you who you are is, first of all, you discovered yourself. Because I know how you passed through, quite a lot, and you never wavered. You were single-eyed, single-hearted, single-minded on where you are going. Now, it requires discovery. It requires you to know who you are, to know that in this course, I'm going this road, I'm going to get to the end of it. So how can we, you may leave the question, how can we really discover who we are? And how did you discover yourself? How did you hear that voice that tell you, continue on this road, you will not fail? How?
Well, just like I said, it's technical. I'm not trying to avoid answering the question.
Yeah.
It's something that definitely we will talk about during the course of the session,
Mm.
because I remember part of what we're going to talk about today is personal development for
Yes.
both careers and business success.
Yes, sir.
But of course, just like I told someone, everything, just as in life, so also in business, that you don't get what you want, you get who you are.
Simple and short.
Yes, in business. So if at the end you get who you are, then who am I? What kind of person am I? Right? Yeah, but just like I said, I don't want to start the class on the note of being spiritual, because for some certain reasons. All right, but it's something definitely I think I'll appreciate. We will definitely come to that, and people will be much more glad. So I will want to build a sequence, of pattern of thoughts,
Okay.
like from
So what we're
stage
going to
after
do now,
stage after stage.
yes, what we're going to do now, let's give you the what do you call it? The stage for 30 minutes. Then we now can start asking you questions. Is it okay?
Oh, sure, doctor.
Okay.
It just remind me, yes, yeah, it just remind me of one of the most important quotes that I once heard from, well, it's a quotation by Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
He said something very profound. He said, "The significance problem and challenges we face in our lives cannot be solved at the present level, of ignorance, or at the present level we were as of when those problems were created."
Yeah.
Yes. So in other words, we have to, as human beings, have to find a way to transcend above the level at which the problems and the challenges we face in our life, the stage we were when those problems were created.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more excited when you talk about personal development. This is a topic that many people all over the world talks about, but is actually only understood by few. And And so today we're going to lay some foundation for most of our people that are on the call tonight. And we're going to talk more about that, because when we look at the extent to which you go as a human being, is determined by how well you are developed. And even just as in life and also in business. For instance, recently someone met me and was telling me about his plan, how you want to expand his business. And I told him, I said, you don't expand a business. You expand the mind that created the business, and the business will be expanded.
Simple.
So it still have to go back to the person at the end of the day, because businesses takes the shape of the minds of their creators.
Wow.
So if the people are not doing well, especially in life or in business, then we have to go, especially when, oftentimes when I have an opportunity, to talk to entrepreneurs and to meet business people. And in most cases, I meet some of them that have challenges in their business. One of the few things I often look out for is to look into who they are first before I want to look into the business.
Wonderful.
Because the business takes the shape of the minds of the creator. There is nothing wrong with the businesses. If I go back to the same businesses that people are complaining about, I can figure out that, and I can point out to you, doctor, that I can see thousands and thousands or hundreds of people out there that are successful in that same line of business.
100%.
So if people are not doing well in business, it's not because the business is bad. As a matter of fact, there are no bad businesses. All right. So it's the knowledge that powers the business that determines, the knowledge that you put into the business, which which still comes back to you, that determines the outcome, what you get out of the business part time, but the success that you experience in your life and in your business. So if the outcome, the success of the outcome depends on you, then I remember sharing with a group of entrepreneurs yesterday. I told them that behind every movement, there's a mover.
Behind every movement, there's a mover.
Behind every movement, there is a mover.
Wonderful.
Yes, there is a mover. So someone have to be responsible. But how well you push, how well you can move things. It's just like saying that, for example, I tell someone, I say, you can't build anything unless you yourself, you have been built.
Wonderful.
So the essence, and we want to start by talking about what is even personal development anyway. Another word for personal development is what we call self-development. The personal, just like a person, human, which refers to simply an individual. So, but if we want to break it down in a simplified way so that people can understand, then we have to look at the first component, which we'll talk about self first, because we are now looking at self-development, especially, for both career and business success. So how do you develop yourself to succeed both career-wise and at the personal level? And I think that's where we start. So, but for us to clearly understand that, then you want to know what is self. Oftentimes people say myself, self. But what is self? And when you look at that, when we said self, simply talks about the union of elements, that's. Yeah, right. Self is a union of elements that constitute an individuality and identity of a person. So what are some of the elements, the union of those elements that comes together, that determines your individuality and your identity? So one, of course, one of the unions, we have the mind.
Yeah.
All right. So we have the mind, we have the body, and we have the intellect, we have the emotions, we have the skills. So the union of these elements is what makes you different from another person. So the essence of self-development is to see how we develop these unions. I mean, how we develop these individual elements to come, to be at the operational level such that it can be able to be useful for you in your business. So for example, at the belief level, all of us can believe that, this year we want to create a business and make $2 million or $5 million. At the belief level, it's okay. But what about at the skill level? Maybe you have a belief of a millionaire, but you don't have a skill of a millionaire. So it's possible also, to develop the skill part. You may have a skill, but what about the thought processes? What about, the emotions that needs to be generated? So all those elements that unite, that comes together, that makes you different from someone else, that is what defines yourself.
Okay.
All right. So in fact, the word self is from a Latin word, which is sus, which means one's own. So what are the things that makes you self? It's just like saying the union or the intersections of your belief, your intellect, your skills, your thoughts, your emotions, that makes you different from someone else. Right. And so if we have to start with the self first, then we now look at what is the word development. The word development is it's an ancient word, or Old French, which is, if you look at it, is two words, developer. It's from a root word, developer. Des means to undo. All right. Veloper is from the word envelope. Envelope means to envelop something, means to cover something.
Yeah.
So yes, to cover something. So this means to undo or to remove. For example, decapitate, to remove the head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this envelope, it means to undo that which is already hidden or covered. Right? So when we talk about self, disenvelope. So self-development is all about how you can disenvelope those components, those elements that makes you different from someone else, which is your mental faculties, right? Your thought processes, your skills, your intellect, everything that makes you different from someone else. Right?
Yeah.
So I was looking at the word, in fact, if you check the word developed, let's look at the literally English word for develop, means to create something over a period of time, or to make visible, or to manifest something that's already there. In fact, some dictionary says to set forth or make clear by degree or in details. But I always like to go with the word to make visible. Remember, we are talking about self-development. Yes, this envelope, to undo that have covered you for a very long time. And so the purpose of training, the purpose of self-development, the purpose of studying is to make visible that's already there. So people don't know why they need to study. They don't need to know why they need to take the course, why they need to attend the seminars, why they need to read the books. It's not because probably, new information. Learning is not the accumulation of new informations. But the purpose of training is to unveil those things that's already in you. And I think one of the first stages is to realize what are the kind of life do I want to live first? And we're going to talk about the framework of self-development. And of course, we will also look at part of what we want to talk about also is Is the goal is what will determine the process.
The goal will determine the
Which you have
process.
in mind. Yes, of course. So if, for example, the quality and the type of self-development I will undergo will be determined by the end objective that I want to achieve in mind.
100%.
If I want to be a doctor, it means I have to develop myself. I have to undo the doctor that is already in me. If I want to be an engineer, is I have to undo, those things that have covered the engineer that is already in me. When we come to the planet Earth, when we come to Earth, we come in full package. We have everything that we want. God have equipped us 100%. You can be anything that you want to be, anything. The only thing is, are you making a deliberate action, taking a deliberate, step to uncover that which you want to be? Because you can be anything. You can have anything. And that's what happened to me several years ago, doctor. I realized that I wasn't living the kind of life that I want. I realized that, I deserve more. Even though, I had every reason, every reason to just like to justify my situation at that moment. But I realized that justifying those situations wouldn't change anything about my life, wouldn't change anything about my future. So one of the things I have to accept and define, who do I really want to be? And for that to happen, one thing very important has to take place. And in the beginning of every self-development has to do with something very key, very important, and that is decision. In other words, it means everyone, yes, is going to face a situation where they're going to have to make a decision, either to be successful or to remain where they are. And I just had a training with some entrepreneurs here in Dubai. All right. Part of what I was sharing with them, I said that one of the most important things that you make is decision. And the word decision is not an easy word. And that's why not everybody makes decision. Because the word decision there means to kill. All right?
Yeah.
It means to kill. Remember, the Latin sus means to own, that's one's own. We're talking in terms of, self. Self is a Latin word for sus.
Yeah.
So that's why if you look at the word, the sus, that sus has to do with kill. So if you look at the word, that decision, I oftentimes tell people you can see the word as in pesticide, to kill pest.
Yeah.
Insecticide, to kill insect.
Yeah.
Herbicide, to kill herbs. All right. Suicide, to kill oneself. Right. So decision to kill you for a new start.
Wow. So anytime you decide, you've killed something for some other thing to live.
Of course.
Wonderful.
I remember in the words of the wise teacher, he said, except a seed of a corn falls down and die, it abided alone. But when it dies, then it reproduces. The life you want will always demand the life that you have.
So they both cannot live in the same house.
Not possible.
Not possible.
So you have to trade this life for the life that you want. And what do you need to do at the moment? That is why we're talking about self-development. The process through which, I remember so many times, like most of my friends will tell you, there are many things I love to do too. I like to party too. Everybody wants to party. Everybody wants to go out to hang around. Everybody wants to enjoy the good things of life.
Yeah.
But you have to come to a point in your life to realize that, what?
Which one?
I have to give up. Yeah, I have to give up something. I have to make a decision to die to all those things and use this moment to, to develop myself, to uncover the gift that is in me so that the life that I want will manifest.
Wow.
So while they are partying, I'm developing.
So you choose.
While they're having fun, I'm developing.
Mm.
I'm de-enveloping.
Mm.
Every hour is an opportunity to disenvelope that which is already in you. In other words, nothing is new.
Sorry.
Yeah. To make visible.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and when you develop yourself, it will show, doctor.
To show.
It will show.
It will show.
It will show in everything about you. You know, when I first understood this, I saw it somewhere in the Bible, and permit me to just say something about both the Bible and the Quran, all right? Because majority of us here are Christians and also Muslims, all right? So
Yeah.
I just want to mention something that is relatable to people,
Yeah.
all right? When I first read this thing in the Bible, I read it in the book of Romans chapter 1, verse 20, right? And it says, for the invisible things of him, which is God, from creation of the world, are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuses. You know what I figured out?
Explain that.
Yeah, it means the invisible things of God is made visible. So that those that did not believe in him, those that didn't believe in God, have no any other reason not to believe again, because all his Godhead nature, the attribute, his divinity, those things are spiritual. They are not things that can be seen, but in order to convince us, to show us the level of the wisdom, he made all the invisible visible. How? Through the things that he have created.
Yes.
So the evidence of his wisdom, of the invisible nature, can be seen through the product that he created. I told somebody, I said, don't tell me what you know, show me what you know. Because you are created in the image and likeness of God. And how does God do? The invisible things of him is being shown physically by the things he have been able to create. That is why I say when you develop yourself, it will show. It's not something that people can hide.
Somebody was demanding the Bible verse. So somebody wrote Romans 1:20.
Yes, it's Romans 1:20.
Okay.
In fact, some translation, maybe I will recommend some translation, like New Living Translation and TPT says, forever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and the sky. Through everything God made, they are clearly sees these invisible qualities, his eternal powers and divine nature. So now they have no excuses for not knowing God. So the evidence of wisdom is in product.
The evidence of wisdom is in product.
Is in the product. The proof of knowledge is in what knowledge is to create. So oftentimes I tell, especially people, it's simple. I look at people, you know, that are doing this, I tell them that it is not difficult. The problem why you're not doing business is simply traceable to something. The physical aspect of your business only reflect the visible that we are not seeing. The invisible things of you, about you. You remember with yourself, we said the composition of the elements that makes you different from someone else. And that has to do with the intellectual. It has to do with the skill set, the mindset, the emotions, all those things. We don't see those things, but the only way we see them is through your actions. And that's why oftentimes I tell people, when a man's thought is hidden onto you, look at the action, because actions are thoughts in motion. Actions are thought expressed. Result is a living thing. It speaks. So when we're looking at self-development, and when you look at all the successful people, being it even in life wise and in career wise. And I'm going to relate to you also my story based on our conversation that you said I should also share. You know, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to relate to you about, especially about a little about my story and some of the most top successful people around the world, and of course, likewise, you, my doctor, and every great man that I have a chance to know all over the world, share the same thing. Um, for me, my journey happened so many years ago. When I realized that, in fact, my journey went far, far, far back, as in when I was in school, right? And just it's just a normal situation. Dad was working, and after when retirement, he can no longer work again. And I happens to be the last child in a family of 13. All right, and yes, yes, I'm the last born, and of course, I came at the moment where all the goodies are finished. Every good thing are gone. My yes, yeah. So I had to struggle. Some in some families coming as a last born have some advantage, because you are coming at the moment where most of your siblings are okay, but in some it's not always the case. And I remember when I was in school, my dad had to sell one of the last property that he had in order to pay my first school fees, and I didn't know where my next school fees was gonna come from, doctor.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for me, I didn't even know that time. I didn't know where my next school fees was gonna come from, and so I was worried. And I remember one of the time that I requested for money from home, and my parents sent me 3,000. Sorry, I think it was 1,005. Yes, I think they're about 1,500 naira. And from my school to where I need to withdraw the money is 300. So by the time I came back, I was left with about 1,200 naira, and it couldn't really do much for me, doctor. And I was an engineer. I was studying engineering that time, and it couldn't even do anything for me. So the money just finished almost all of a sudden. I couldn't really do nothing serious, and I remember. Particularly, I'll never forget that moment because it's an emotional thing for me that I ran out of even soap to wash my lab coat. We have a class, a practical sessions, and my lab coat was dirty. So I had to move from one toilet room after the other in my hostel, gathering some of the remaining soaps, and I molded them into a bar. And till today, one of my friends used to mock me. Anyway, he don't mock. We used to joke about it. He used to call it, there's this music, Cut of Many Colors, and mine, he used to call it the soap of many colors. Yeah.
Oh dear.
And yeah, they call it the soap of many colors. And I'm like, how comes, you have a soap? Your soap seems to be unique, having so many different colors.
Custom made.
Yeah. I didn't know the story about the soap, basically. I remember that was what I was using to wash my clothes and also to take my bed. And I remember one moment happens that changed my life. That day I was washing, and after washing, I decided to take my bed in the toilet. While taking the bed, I fell down in the floor, and I fell down, on my knees. I just found myself crying. I said, God, I don't want to be like this anymore. Something has to happen.
The soap of many colors did it for you.
Yes. I said, you see, I said, I don't want to live like this anymore.
Oh,
and so something has to happen. And most of the time I realize that there are some moments that happens in our life.
Yeah.
That makes everything turn around.
Yeah. But
I remember
sometimes we miss it. That's the major problem. Sometimes we miss it. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So I left. I'll never forget that day. I left. So I went to the library to do my assignment, and on the decks I saw a book that was going to launch my journey. And I thank God for that day, because had that event never happened, probably I wouldn't have been where I am today. And I really thank God for everything that I've passed through and everything that I've been through. And I saw that book called The Age of Discontinuity.
The what?
And The Age of Discontinuity.
Is it AGE or EDGE?
Yes. No, AGE. The
Okay.
Age.
Okay.
Yes. So it's a Peter Drucker book. It's a management book that, particularly, there was a topic in that in the whole book that changed my life,
By
you know,
Peter Drucker.
forever. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And it talks about the knowledge economy, and it talks about the advantage and the importance of self-development. And it's like, I don't know, but I'll never forget that day. I sat right there in the library and I read that book for close to 4 to 5 hours. I was like literally lost in that book. And one of the things that the book convinced me is that the book made me understand that my limitations are self-imposed, and that there are no mountains anywhere around the world. My ignorance, my mountains, the ignorance is the mountain that is stopping me. So I'll never forget that. I got an inspiration that time. I'm sure I showed you some of the pictures some times ago, all right? And I got some ideas from the book that, right there, the next semester, I was able to make 2 million naira. I was 16 years that time.
Can you believe it?
From the inspiration that I got from the book. And I also created a system that every two weeks, I was getting like 500,000 naira for a very long period of time, even when I was in school. So from there, I was able to gather even some money till when I retire. Probably, I'm gonna show you this. So probably,
do I make you share your screen?
Okay, if that is possible, then that would be great.
Yeah, you can share. Yeah, go ahead, share your screen.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is it showing?
Yeah, it's showing.
Okay, because
it's still white, but you've taken over. So just
okay. Is it showing now?
We are seeing your cursor, but we are not seeing. Maybe you push one or two.
Okay. All right. Maybe this is what I will do right now. Okay.
I'll put it in multiple participants can share simultaneously, so you can do that. I think.
Okay.
Try again. Listen.
All right, doctor. Okay, I think now it can show.
Some people are raising hands, so you know when you to start allowing. Yeah, we can see.
Okay.
We can see you now. We can DNT.
All right. Okay. All right. Yes. By the way, that was my first company. I was 16 years old at that time.
Wow.
And from the inspiration I got from reading that book, and what the book does for me was to uncover that thing that was already in me. So the process that I subject myself to studying, the book and getting all the information from the book helped me to realize that there are some potential that I have that I didn't know I had up to that time.
Wow.
So I remember I went on creating my very first, business that time, and that was me. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow.
Yes, and I've always believed in creating an easy world, a world where everybody have the ability to solve their problems. I don't want to solve your problems, because the best teachers are not those who solve your problems, but those who help you find your own answer to your own problems. Wow. So I've always just wanted to be the teacher that will help every other person, find the answers to their problem. And I say, hey, you know what? Come, I'm going to teach you how to solve your own problems. I don't have enough time to tell you all the story. I'm just trying to summarize part of that. And I want to use this to establish a foundation upon which I'm going to share a very powerful idea for all the people that are here tonight, and they're going to be wowed. Wow. I also have a special documentary that I will share towards the end of this program from one of the most successful persons on the planet. And if only people will get that information, I mean, it's going to be mind blowing by the end of this program tonight.
Wow, we're
So,
here.
yes, brother. Yes, doctor. And so that was me 16. I was 16, and I had to sum up some courage. In fact, even before to do that, because naturally I'm a reserved person and I'm a very quiet person. I remember the first time I stood before people, I was crying. I was to give a testimony, so they had to remove me off the stage. But I remember, sometimes in life it's okay to be afraid, but don't let that fear stop you from doing something.
Wow.
Which is the most important part, right? That was some of my students that time. I was teaching them, and they were paying me 10,000 naira, right? And sometimes I have 50 students, and that's 500,000 naira, and
Wow.
that's me and some of my staffs. And I was a student that time. I was 16 years old. Outside my first 2 million naira that I made.
The smallest of them all.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It was interesting, life it's amazing, and I remember it's a very great experience, and I was going to also states to do trainings for people and sponsoring events in my university, but that's how it is. So I came back to Abuja as well, and I started a business, and I was robbed in my business, and I lost everything. I remember also the time when the thing happened. It was the moment I was supposed to renew my house rent. And sometimes, really, doctor, I don't know why some things happen the way they do. It's like those moments that you are in one big problem, then another problem surfaces. Then another one happens. Yes. So multiple problems. It's like they're being sent. And I remember that time I was supposed to renew my house rent. And I didn't have the money because I was robbed and I had to pay people off. So I was left with 20,000. I went to plead with my landlord, and he couldn't bear with me, so he sent me out of the house. And for the very first time in my life, I went homeless, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. And someone told me that, he said, "Hyeladi, if you go to a place called Maraba, there's a town called Maraba in Abuja, that if you get there, you can get a house for 25,000 naira." And I didn't know that I was lied to. I didn't know that was not true. So I remember going to Maraba for, I sat all the entire day, for the whole day I was searching for houses, of 25,000 naira. I couldn't get anyone. And until when I was about to leave, someone told me, he said, "Hyeladi," I said, "Yes." He said, "If you go to a place called Angwan Hausawa after Massacre, the one-man village, and after those things, you will surely get." And I said, "Well, it doesn't hurt to try." So I remember taking a bike, 150 naira. That's as of 2010, 2011. That's about 10 years ago. Yeah. So I want you to imagine where you need to pay 150 right now, even in Abuja. The distance 150 naira can take you as compared to
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Yes, it's a long, very, very far.
Like almost 5.
So I finally went. Yeah, and as the good Lord may have it, I finally got a house. It's a room with no toilet. It's an uncompleted, right? The owner of the building was at the verge of completing the building, but I was willing to take it because at that time I just needed a place I can just put my head, a place that I can call my home. That's all. That's all that matters to me as of that time. All right, and because I knew that it will not last forever, based on the principle that I'm going to share with you, especially in this short term.
Hyeladi, somebody is saying that that landlord must be a very wicked man. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But that's what my money can afford at that time. I remember, I'll never forget one of my classmates from university and one of my childhood friends from my place came to ask about, ask me about my whereabouts, and I did tell them about where I was living that time. So 2 of them came to see me. When the 2 of them came, one of them said something unconsciously. He said, "If at the end of my life I will go to school to get degrees like this guy, like Hyeladi, and end up in this place. He said, God forbid bad thing. I'd rather not go to school.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe him because there was no physical, substances that, probably that they can use a certain the level. So even now we still now jokes about it. Every now and then when we meet, we still joke about it. He say, "Hi," I say, "Hyeladi, do you remember that your house? After massacre in one man village." I say, "Yes, yes, yes." So, but here's the point. All right, I didn't just want to bug you with the story. I'm trying to come to make a point. All right, in all these things. And I'm sure the reason why I'm sharing this story, all right, so that also you'll be able to see clearly, the advantage and the value of the next principles that I'm going to share with them, so that they will clearly see, all right, that if anybody, and I said this, I've taught people in more than 21 countries around the world sharing the same concept, and I said, if anybody follows this concept, that person will infallibly be very successful. I don't care the situations you're going through right now. I don't care what you're experiencing right now. There are people that have been in the same situation or worse situation than probably what you're experiencing. And all of a sudden, everything has changed. I've seen people's life change right like day and night. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen to somebody on this call. Remember, this call is not for everybody. Yeah. It's just for one person. And I don't know who that one person may be. And maybe, I don't know whosoever the person that may be on this call, but I'm very sure myself and Doctor are not doing this call for everybody that is on this call.
100%.
All right, just for somebody out there. So, and what happened, Doctor, during that time, something happens. And, when I was living in that one room without toilet, it's almost an uncompleted building. Many people relate to it because it's not a story that I can hide, because there's things that a lot of people have been there and have seen me there, and I've seen how I was living there. All right. So, yeah, sometimes we have to be proud about our own stories.
Of course.
Yes, they are part of the things the processes that we've been through, and they are part of the things that made us who we are today.
Yeah.
Right. And I thank God for giving me the chance to have passed through those situations. But here's the thing. When I was going through that, I remember one time, and someone called me in town, and they said, "Hyeladi, you have some money with us. Would you come and have it?" So I remember I didn't even have money to have to take bus to come to town. So I went to Maraba. I checked from that place to Maraba Bridge. When I got to Maraba Bridge, I was asking during that time, before they banned this, those bus guys, those Rufai bus people, that time they were still active. So, and I asked someone or two, I said, "Would you help me, drop me here? I have something to do." I tell them, they say, "Oh boy, we've been hearing this kind of stories before. Will you get out of this place?" All right. And so at the end of the day, Doctor, I didn't have a choice. So I trekked from Maraba to AYA, where where I was going to get the money. And so I got the money from the guy around AYA. Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes. Yeah. So when I reached around the AYA junction, I got the money, and for some days I didn't eat good food, so finally I was able to eat. But with that money, I saw two guys that were selling books. There is this thing about people. I don't know. Anytime you drive around the city of Abuja, you see people, handling some books, selling books on the street, especially by the roadside. Yeah. So there are two things that I saw that changed my life. A guy was selling a book, and prior to that time, I've read hundreds of books, if not thousands of books and articles, prior to that time. But I didn't know why it never occurs to me that I've not encountered those two materials. So I saw two books that the guy was selling. One, the book is called Think and Grow Rich. It's a very popular book. But if you're on this call this night, I recommend this book. I want you to go and read that book. Yes, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yeah. Now, Napoleon Hill interviewed 500 wealthiest people that have ever lived during that time of his existence, and he put all the summary of all the conclusions, things that made them successful, in a book, and he called it Think and Grow Rich, not Work and Grow Rich. Now, And it's a very powerful material. Actually, it's not Think and Grow Rich. It's Law of Success in 16 volumes. But as of that time, some of the mafias, the richest people in the world, in the planet, felt those secrets are too big to be released to a common man. So they published a topic out of that book. And that topic is what we now have it to regard it as Think and Grow Rich. And Think and Grow Rich today is the second most read book in the world after Bible and Quran. And an average millionaire in America have read that book at least 14 times. I remember the first time when I saw that, I said, well, if a millionaire in America read it 14 times, I will read it 40 times. Why? Because humility is not a personality trait. It's recognizing that you don't have something. You see, doctor, I recognize that those people are millionaires and I was not.
Yeah.
I recognize that those people are living their dream life and I was not.
Yeah.
So if they're able to do it 14 times, it just makes sense that I have to do it 40 times.
Wow.
So I read the book over and over until the words become flesh.
Wow. But you mentioned the second one because you said one was Think and Grow Rich. The next one was what?
Yes. The second one was Road to Wealth.
What?
By Robert Allen. Road to Wealth.
Road to Wealth.
By Robert Allen. Yes. And Robert Allen says something. He said, take me to any part of the world. And that is the foundation of the self-development that we're going to talk about in this session tonight. I think that's, I think our class just started right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's the foundation that Robert Allen said. He said, based on the principles he discovered of self-development, he said, take me to any part of the world and give me $100 living expense. And in 90 days, I will be a millionaire in dollars. That is powerful. And that is the self-confidence that most of you will have after this call tonight.
Wow.
You will know for a fact that no matter what happens, if they drop you in any part of the world, it's going to be impossible, all right? Except I tell someone today, it's not a pride. It's not that I'm proud or anything.
I know what you mean.
Except if it's an act of God. Except if there's what we call an act of God. If you drop me any part of the world, I can never be poor again. Why? Because I knew these things that I'm going to share with you. And after when I share this thing with you guys, you will see it for yourself. There are about 15 different principles that I will share with you, but I know time will not allow us to talk about the 15. So wherever we're able to stop, it's okay. But the few that I'm going to share with you guys.
I am here. Anytime they get tired, they can go. I am here. I can listen to the thing.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
All right. And this is what Robert Allen said. He said, take me to any part of the world. Give me $100 living in exchange. $100 is like 45,000 naira right now. He said, and give me 90 days. That is 3 months. He said, and I will return a multi-millionaire in dollars. Remember, $1 million is about 185 million naira as of today.
Yeah.
So he said, give me 48,000 naira.
400 and
yeah. And about 85,000 and 85 million. $1 million is right now is about 485 million.
Yes.
So he said, give me $100.
Yes.
And the reason why I need that $100 is just for my living expenses. And give me 90 days anywhere in the world, and I will be a millionaire in dollars.
Give me about 48,500.
Yes. And give me 90 days. I will return with nothing less than 485 million naira.
Wow.
That's powerful. You know, when you are a public figure, there are statements you don't make. People will challenge you. And so that was what happened. People challenged Robert Allen.
Yeah.
They took him to a city, New York Times precisely. They took him to a city. They gave him $100. And in 90 days, he bought a house worth $7 million.
Okay. Wow.
When you convert $7 million, that is about close to 3 billion naira.
Yeah.
Well over 2 point something billion. And, you know, poor people will say, well, that's a coincidence.
Yes. He was lucky. He was lucky.
Yeah, he was lucky. Every time they see your success, thank you very much, like that. They say he's a lucky guy.
He's lucky. Unless the Lord build a house, they build a levels in bed. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's what most poor people glorify. And when I say poor, I don't mean people that doesn't have money.
I know what you
see.
mean.
If you met me 11 years ago, I was broke. I didn't have cash, but I was not poor.
Simple.
Yes. Especially when I learned this principle and this secret that we're going to discuss tonight. When I learned them, my self-confidence went from 0 to over the roof.
Wow.
And one of the things that happened, they took him to another city and he repeats the same thing.
So it wasn't luck. It wasn't luck.
No, it wasn't luck.
Or luck was following him to those cities anyways.
But here's the point. He did it again for the 3rd time.
Wow.
And he got the same result.
Wow.
It's scientific, brother.
Science.
It's scientific. Right?
Yeah.
It's scientific. If it was once, then we can say probably he's lucky.
Yeah.
But it happens 2 times.
Yeah.
And 3 times.
Yeah.
So he got angry. He said, why will you guys challenge me just because I said that? He said, let's change the narratives. And that's what's going to happen also today.
Oh.
He said, let's change the narrative. And they said, what? He said, bring any poor man from any part of the world. I'm going to teach him the principles, the foundation of these principles. And if only he master this principle, he or she will never know what it means to be poor for the rest of their life again.
So it doesn't matter whether his president is Buhari or Trump or Biden or, it doesn't matter.
Of course. I was interviewed recently by one of these news channels about the economy when I was, I was around that time in Nigeria. So they were asking me, they said, what do you see? I said, there's no problem with the economy. Let's be honest. In the same city, some people are buying new cars. Some people are building new houses. All right. Some people are making more money. If you're not making money, yes, building estate. I said the money have not gone anywhere. The money just changed location. Yes. So be the guy. The only thing, if you want to be the guy that the economy favors you, change the table around, turn the table around, position yourself to be the guy that when money leaves other people, that money comes to your hand. Then the economy will favor you. So Robert Allen said, it doesn't matter. You think because you think I'm a billionaire, keep that aside. Bring any poor man from any part of the world. If they only master some of the things that I'm going to teach you guys this night, he said they can unfailingly will be very wealthy. And doctor, you know what? For the very first time in my life, I saw a situation where poverty became a requirement. I mean, poverty became a blessing.
Qualification. It
became a good thing. Yes, it becomes a qualification. They say, and now you see people queued up to be screened on the levels of their poverty.
Yeah.
They want to know, excuse me, sir, how poor are you? Yeah, are you the most poorest person in this community?
You'll be swearing, I'm not eating for
yes.
3 days. Oh, dear.
Yes. He says, sir, you need to know I'm the most poorest person. If I'm indebted by this amount. But something interesting happened, right?
Yeah.
So he said that, yes. And this is what happened. Robert Allen took them through the process.
Yeah.
And in 90 days, none of them ever have to be poor again for the rest of their life.
Wow.
So he came up with a principle. He said, success is not about what you get. Success is who you become. Whatever you have, you can lose. but whoever you become, you keep.
Wow. Wow.
You know, the greatest thing about my life, doctor, right now is
Mm.
none of the things that I have.
Yeah.
Because you can take me to any part of the world, as long as I have me,
Mm.
I will make everything back.
Wow. Wow.
Any results you have that you can't repeat it for the second time, the first one is a mistake.
100%.
So I tell people, the best thing about being a doctor is not the certificate.
Mm.
The certificate is just an attestation to attest that you passed through this system.
That's all.
But if they take the certificate, it doesn't in any way make you less than a doctor.
Simple and short.
If they take away your engineering certificate in any way, doesn't make me less than an engineer.
Mm.
So if you take away all my money, it doesn't in any way make me less than a rich man.
Simple.
So if you have a result that you are scared of losing it, then it means it's not yours in the first place.
Mm.
But there is a pattern to which every businessman, both career-wise and in life-wise, business-wise, have followed. And these are the things I want to share with you guys tonight.
We're ready.
So when I learned those principles, I'll never forget, doctor. You know, it just happens to me like the way, you know, it just right before me right now, every time I close my eyes, I just feel like, hey, you know what? It's just, I'm just seeing it as it was the way, you know, as the way it happened that time.
Yeah.
So, and that is why, if you look at this thing right now, and let's go back there again. I gathered. I went around and I said, hey, you know what? I started gathering people all over. I said, come, I'm going to teach. I found the principle that if you follow it, you must be very successful. And that principle is the principles of self-development. They are principles, fundamental principles of self-development. And that's me there, doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can see that, right?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so I gathered people. We started, that's about 11 years ago.
Mm.
I started gathering people on that tree. I said, come, I'm going to teach you how to be wealthy. I'm going to teach you how to be successful, both in career-wise and in and you know, and business-wise. And
Yeah.
people say, wow, look at the guy that's going to teach us how to be successful.
Oh dear.
Yes. So I remember when we started it on that tree, and when the rainy days came, the rain chased us. We moved from under the tree. We located a nearby primary school. I remember one day the owner of the primary school came around, was moving around, was passing by, and he saw us. He saw some group of people gathering in one of the halls, and that's us there. And he came by. He said, what are you guys doing here? And I was stammering. I didn't know what to say. I said, sir, I'm teaching them how to be rich. He said, what are you doing? I said, sir, at that time I was stammering. I said, sir, I'm teaching them how to be rich. And the guy went out there. So he checked out to look whether he's going to see a Lamborghini, whether he's going to see a car, Rolls Royce, Ferrari. But when he came back, he only saw my oversized coat and my shoe that one side had been chopped off due to trekking. And he said, what are you doing here? I said, sir, I'm teaching them how to be rich. And he carried a stick. And he said, will you guys get out of this? I don't want to see you here again. And that is how he ended my career that day.
Career destroyers.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Everything changed, doctor. Everything changed that day, that night. So, but something happened. I said, the best way to terminate insult is massive success.
Wow. Wow.
If Robert Allen promised 90 days, I said, I'm not going to do 90 days, but I'm going to do 90 times 2, which is 180 days.
Mm.
I said, knowing what I know right now, which is what everybody on this call is going to learn before the end of this session tonight. He said, knowing what I know right now, I'm going and I'll come back in 180 days. And I told my people, I've always knew that I was going to be successful. If not, I wouldn't keep the record of these things.
100%.
I told them, I said, listen, we are going to use this. And right now, I'm even planning. Maybe by the time I return, hopefully before the end of the year, I want to go and buy that school. I want to make it a museum.
Wow.
Because I know that God is going to take us to some place. We will be very successful, so successful that people want to come back to see the trails of our history. So, doctor, I didn't come back after 180 days. I didn't come back because it doesn't matter the business I become part of. Here is the principle. And I oftentimes teach people this in all my sessions. I said, if you add 2 plus 3, what will you get? People tell me 5. I remember this was a question I asked a billionaire in Mexico some time ago. I said, sir, I want to be successful because my mentor taught me something. He said, Hyeladi, anytime you meet someone that makes more money than you, when you're around them, don't talk, only ask questions. Because there's a reason why they make more money than you.
100%.
So when I had a chance to meet a billionaire, which was a very rare opportunity, I asked him, and he asked me a question. He said, young man, if you add 2 plus 3, what will you have? I said, I was angry. I said, sir, I have a degree in engineering.
Oh dear.
That is a question you should be asking kindergartens.
Nursery school.
No. You should bring some differential integration and all those kind of complicated. Poor people like complicated things.
Yes.
So I love complicated things that time.
Oh dear.
So, look at me. He said, young man, he said, the greatest liability of a poor man is arrogance.
Arrogance.
And I learned my lesson. I was humbled. I said, 5, sir. He said, good. He said, young man, if you go to China and you add 2 plus 3, what will you have? And I told him, I said, 5, sir. He said, very good. He said, what if you are 50 years old and you add 2 plus 3? I said, 5, sir. He said, good. He said, young man, true wealth is not a product of your location. If it is, it means some people in one location will be rich and some in another location will be poor. Yet in every location, there are rich and poor.
Everybody in that location will be rich and everybody in that other location will be poor. But that's not the truth.
Yes. He said, true wealth, young man, is not a product of age. If it is, it means one age group will be rich and another age group will be poor. In every age group, there are rich and poor. And I learned something. He said, true wealth is a product of principles. He said, it doesn't matter if you have the right combination of the number, your outcome is guaranteed. Whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Hindu, whether you're an atheist, whether you even believe there is God or you don't believe there is God, it doesn't matter. I believe in God. Don't get me wrong.
I know what
But just like I told them some time ago, yes, I was privileged to be invited by the president, and I featured during a program in National Mosque during a Ramadan session. And I spoke to some of my very good friends as well. All right. And another time I also spoke in National Christian Center where I talked to a lot of bishops. And there is one thing I always tell them. I remember specifically when I went to National Christian Center, I see a lot of people are praying for financial prosperity. Father, you bless me this year, all these things. Well, so because I was the resource person and I didn't participate, and I remember some pastors are looking at me around. I said, is this guy crazy? Why is he not participating? Why is he not saying the same things? So when I came up, I said some things. I said, this year you will be prosperous. And people saying, amen, that's a good prayer.
Yeah.
I said, this year you will harvest where you did not sow. And I was surprised. Some people were saying, amen. I said, the wealth of the wicked belongs to the righteous. This year, all the wealth will belong to you. And they said, amen. But for the last 2,000 years ago, the wealth is still in the hand of the wicked man. Something is wrong. I told them, sir, I said, you can stop all these prayers. You know why? Because God doesn't answer your money problems by prayer. If he does, the prayer warriors should have been the most successful people on the planet.
Mm.
When I said this in national mosques, over 7,000 people, I said the same thing. I said, God doesn't answer your money problems by prayer. Nigeria is the most religious nation on the planet, and yet we are one of the most poorest. In fact, I asked them, I said, the richest man in Nigeria, I asked the Christians, I said, his name is Aliko Dangote.
Yeah.
The richest black man on the planet. He is not a Christian. He don't pray like you. He don't fast like you. He don't do all the things you do. And yet he's richer than all of you.
Mm.
If you know what I'm about to share with you, if you have the right combination of this principle that I'm going to share with you, I don't care whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Hindu. If you look at it, the top richest billionaires right now, the top 30 banks, richest banks in the world now are from China. They don't believe in what we believe.
Mm.
The last time I checked, when I read in the Bible said, for those who know their God, they shall do exploit.
Yeah.
And yet some people say they claim God. How comes, the Bible said the evidence of knowledge, of knowing God is an exploit. I told them, I said, you claim to be the head and you say you will be the head and not the tail, but the last time I checked, you look like the tail. All bad things happen to you all the time. Every bad thing I know happened to you. How comes? You say you know God, and yet all these things are happening to you.
Mm.
You're supposed to do an exploit. So, but there are foundations, and I'm glad that we're going to discuss these foundations this night.
Wow.
I'm so glad because they're universal. So I went back, I said, hey, I'm going to teach people. And I got involved. Regardless, remember, any business I joined, I know I was going to be successful.
Yeah.
6 months thereafter, 90 days, I was all over the world, doctor.
Wow.
I was in Georgia, South Africa, Hong Kong, United States, everywhere. I had my brand new card, every kind of things. I came back. Remember, that's how I started my class in Hilton. I said, hey, you know what? I've come back, but we're doing another version of I want to teach you how to be rich, how to be successful in life and in business.
No more.
But this time, yes. But this time, remember, we were doing it on that tree and that primary school. But this time is in Hilton. I said, but you know what? This time is going to cost you money. They say, how much? I said, 2 million.
Mm.
Big problem. A lot of people don't have the 2 million to be part of the program, but they want the secret. I remember one time I was sharing the secret in the class, and a serving governor raised his hand and told me, he said, Hyeladi, he said, if I had known these things that you shared 20 years ago, I would have been richer than Dangote. The man traveled to his state. That same week, he declared public holiday. He invited me. When I came, I shared some in-depth secret and principles to them. But when I finished, the man stood up from his seat and forced me to sit on the governor's seat. It was incredible, doctor.
Wow.
And for the first time, I become His Excellency. All right. From there, I've had so many events right now all over the world. Georgia, the last one I had 7,000 people in Georgia. And right now I just travel all over the world, bring some of my very good friends. That was last year. You're supposed to be in this event, doctor.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember.
In Dubai? You're supposed to be one of our speakers that time.
I remember, yes.
Yes. It was incredible. But guys, that's how it all started. Based on a principle. And I'm going to share with you the first principle. All right. The first principle. Remember, we're talking about self. If you ask me, what happened, Hyeladi, all this time? What happened to you? Throughout all this your journey? There is only one thing. I realized that the greatness that I have always been right inside me. It's just that I needed to envelop it, to de-envelop it. It reminds me of a story of a sculptor, that sculpted out a very beautiful
figure.
yeah, figure. And someone saw it. He said, wow, such a beautiful figure. How were you able to make that? And he told him that this figure have always been in the tree. It's just that I removed the unwanted parts.
Wow.
And the beauty came out.
Wow. Wow.
It means, folks, the life you want have always been with you.
Inside envelope.
All we need to do, yes, is just envelope. So we just needed to remove the unwanted part so that the beautiful aspect of your reality need to come out. And that's what happens to me. And how do you remove it? The essence of training is to make visible your virtues that are hidden, that are invisible, that are in you. And that's the essence of training. That's why we do training. That's why I train myself every single day. I will show you what I do every day, and I will show you what Bill Gates does every day. And I will show you what Dr. Cussons does every day. Something changed in the world. When I met this successful billionaire, I said, so what is the secret? I want to be among the top 1% of the most successful people in the world. And he told me, he said, Ali, it's simple. He said, the best way, you can't build anything unless you are built.
Wow.
So the quality of how well you build anything depends on how well you yourself is built. So we need to start by building yourself first. We need to train yourself first. And how do you do that? He said there is a way that you can achieve 1% in the world. There's a way to be among the top 1%. And you know what he told me, doctor? He said, go out. And that's one of the one principle. Principle number one.
Principle number one.
He said, if you want to be, yes, principle number one. He said, if you want to be among the top 1%, he said, go out there and train yourself. Study at least 6 best-selling books on one particular thing. Did you guys hear me? Study at least 6 best-selling books on one particular thing. That is important, ladies and gentlemen. I said, why 6? He said, Hyeladi, when you study 6 books on one particular thing, it automatically places you on the top 1% of the most knowledgeable people in the whole world in that field. He said, you know what? I said, what? He said, 99.9% of the people of the world will not study 6 books on one particular thing. So if you're going to be the one that will study 6 books on one particular subject, it automatically propel you to be among the top 1% most knowledgeable people in the whole world in that field.
Wow.
That is why, doctor, I don't study one book on anything. For me right now, it's not about how many books you read. I used to want to read a lot of books, but you know, my billionaire mentor told me, he said, Hyeladi, it's not about how many books you read. He said, if you find any book that touch you, that talk to you, he says, stay on that material. Let me show you guys something. All right. I want you to watch this. Everybody be attentive to this. All right. Where is my this? Okay.
When you are sharing, please click on share computer sound so that you know it's easy for us to get the sound right from your computer.
Okay.
When you click on share, you will see share computer.
Okay.
Sound.
Okay. Okay. So, but if you don't get the sound, so you let me know so that I can.
No problem.
All right. Okay. All right.
Bill knew there was still one big question left to answer.
Is the sound
Yeah, we're
playing?
getting it.
Answer. How could he transform their scribbles on a whiteboard
Okay.
into something?
Well, this is a documentary about Bill Gates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the documentary is called Inside Bill's Brain, Decoding Bill Gates' Brain. I recommend it for everyone on this call to go and watch it. It's on Netflix. All right, Inside Bill's Brain. I told myself, I'm not the kind of guy, I'm not a Netflix kind of person that much. But I said, if a billionaire have the time to act a movie, it will be foolish of me not to have time to watch it. All right. So they came. I just want to take you to this point straight so I don't have to waste most of our time. So they came to interview Bill Gates specifically to know what is the secret to his success. Why is this guy so exceptional that he's doing well in almost everything he does? So this is what he told the team.
That actually works.
Measure what matters.
Okay. Watch these books. All right. Listen to those things.
Create enough energy for it to run itself. Would it be possible for a toilet to work without pipes or even outside water?
We came to a conclusion that it would be possible.
Bill knew there was still one big question left to answer. How could he transform their scribbles on a whiteboard into something that actually works?
How can he translate that? That's when they start listening. These are books.
The vaccine race, Haiti prioritizes, buck chain revolution, strength and stillness, inventions that change the world, how to make a mind, fundamentals of deep learning, quantum mechanics and algorithms, the Book of Why, Bad Blood, Life 3.0, Educated, To Be a Machine, The Perfect Weapon, Elastic.
And how often are you packing this?
This gets refreshed on a weekly basis.
Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
It said this get refreshed. These books that looks like this voluminous books that look like textbook. It said they get refreshed every single week on a weekly basis. Every single week. He read them, he reread them, he reread them every single week. Listen to it.
It gets packed and cleaned for every trip he does, certainly, because he has more time to read while he's traveling for his work for the foundation.
So this goes everywhere with him.
This goes everywhere with him.
He is joyous about learning things like no one I've ever met in my life. He doesn't read one book about something. He'll read like 5 books about it.
Did you get the code now?
Mhm.
He doesn't read one book on anything. The least Bill Gates read on anything, he read at least 5 books on one particular thing.
Wow.
Always.
Wow.
Something, most of which are too dense for any mortal to read, right? And he reads really fast and synthesizes really well. The most amazing thing is he almost always knows more than the other person he's talking to about whatever it is.
The most unbelievable is that he almost knew more about whatever it is he's talking to with anybody. Why? Because it takes information to decode information.
Mm.
It takes some level of knowledge to decode another higher level of knowledge.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I've been with him on vacation. He'll read 14 books. That's a gift, you know.
When I saw this, and I heard Anthony Robbins saying that he had to go and take a speed reading course, I bought one course for myself too. He reads, so when they said a brigade read for 5 hours, for example, in a day, it's not the same 5 hours, the same, maybe as you. That 5 hours, it means in 1 hour, he read 150 pages. An average book is about 200 to 300 pages.
Yeah.
It means in every 1.5 hours, he finished one complete book.
Wow.
With 90% comprehension.
Wow.
to read 150 pages an hour. I'm going to say it's 90% retention. Kind of extraordinary.
One thing about Bill is he is a multiprocessor. He'll be.
That is an important principle. You know, doctor, when I learned this, it's a very simple thing. Just like what Napoleon Hill said, and my mentor told me, he said, Hyeladi, some of the things I'm going to teach you, they are so simple that you will not do them.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, why? I said, because what is simple to do is also simple not to do.
100%.
People don't fail in life, not because of the truth that was not told to them.
Mm.
They fail because of the truth that is being told to them, and yet they do nothing about it.
Wow. Wow.
When I realized that, doctor, I went back to the humility equation, which says, I told you earlier, I said, humility is not a personality trait. It's recognizing that you don't have something. If Bill Gates will read 5 books on one thing, how many do you suppose I should be reading on one thing?
Wow.
I read 10 minimum.
Wow.
And that is why anytime I put my hand in anything, I only strive. I don't strive necessarily to be the best at what I do, naturally, because I know 99.99% of the people in the world will not study that thing on that particular thing.
100%. You're right.
I challenge you. I know some of you will say, hey, you know what? I don't like to read. I didn't like it either in the first place.
But
there is a price.
You don't like to read, but you like money.
Yes. The life you want will demand the life you have.
100%.
There must be sacrifice. There is nothing in this world as I want to have something for doing nothing. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. There are moments, doctor, I feel asleep. I'll come back home, I'm tired, but I have to make up my hours.
Make up my hours, wonderful.
I don't feel like doing it, but I've done it over and over again. Now, many people, for example, I just told you, we were joking with you about the training that I just got, another training, all right, about $92,000.
Yeah.
All right. You can imagine where you're being paid $92,000 just to come and teach people for 5 hours and go.
Wow.
Here's my advice for you. Don't be the best at what you do. Be the only one that can do what you do.
Wow. That's deep. Wow.
Doctor, I've gone to so many places that is against all odds. People said, you know what, Hyeladi, this is against our culture, against our belief, against everything. But we couldn't find anybody that can do what you do.
Wow.
Many places I go, they said, you know what, Hyeladi? He said, it's against, I've gone to places that are against people's culture, but still they have no choice. I've gone to places, I'm a black guy, they don't like me either, they don't even like my face, but they can't deny the value that I was going to bring to them. I was sharing with you recently in Nigeria when I had a chance. In fact, they were telling me I'm the very first Christian ever since independence to be allowed to go to national mosques and go on the stage and also teach in a mosque.
Wow.
Don't be the best. If you're the best, it means you're an option.
Yeah.
They could manage another person in your absence. And that's why I don't negotiate my value. When I go to some place, do any program, do any meetings with anybody, I say, hey, this is what I get paid. Because when you operate, when you are the only one, you determine how much you're worth. You don't allow someone's opinion to determine how much you're worth.
Wow.
How do you do that? Learn from the Gates. What does he do? He studied at least 5 books on one particular thing. That's what I did. When I wanted to become wealthy, doctor, you know what I did? I gathered 6 books about wealth. Not 6 books also that are written by poor folks that write the book on how to be rich so that they'll sell it and make money to be rich. I remember someone brought a book for me to forward. The title of the book is How to Be Rich. And he said, Hyeladi, please, can I have your goodwill to forward this book for me? But the guy is broke, doctor. I said, so you write this book so you can sell it and make money. That's why till today, I don't have a book. People have asked me all over the world, everywhere, anywhere I have a speaking engagement. I just finished speaking to successful entrepreneurs here in Dubai.
Yeah.
All right. If you check my Instagram or my Facebook, you see people in over 74 countries all over the world came and lodged in the most biggest hotel in Dubai, Burj Khalifa. All right. And I had a chance, a beautiful session and all time with them. And one thing I know for sure, doctor, is that, you see, knowledge, I tell people, is the only asset that creates other assets.
100%.
How come do you think people all over the world will gather and say, hey, Hyeladi, we want to hear from you? Of all the people in the world. Because when I discovered this secret, I vowed to never be an option.
Wow.
The Bible said, study to show yourself approved. A workman that needed not to be ashamed. He said, rightly dividing the word of the truth. If you don't study, you will be ashamed. Let me show you a popular video that all of you are used to it already. I used to share it popularly in my class. I consider this session as a foundation, all right? It's just a foundation session that we're having. Let me check that and it's amazing. It's incredible. Like, so it's not enough to study, but one of the things I advise everybody on the call tonight, all right? Yeah, yes. Okay, this video is very popular. I just want to share with you guys. I know you guys have watched it. I just want to establish a foundation. That's why I want to share it with you guys. All right, and all right, let's go.
Warren Buffett once said, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Warren Buffett was one time the richest man on the planet. He said, earning is synonymous to learning. If you're not making too much money, it's simply because there are some things you don't know.
Simple and short.
The only reason why somebody makes more money than you is because they know something you don't know.
Simple and short.
One time, I went to an event, doctor, and a speaker was talking and said that he was hired by a bank and the bank paid him 10 million to go and do a training in a particular institution. I said, God, just for talking.
Yeah.
I want to know what this guy knows. I took it as a challenge. I said, the only reason why they're paying that guy 10 million and not me is because there are some things he have learned that I have not learned yet. I went and equipped myself. The last time he met me, doctor, you know what he told me? He said, I want to be like you.
Oh dear.
I remember we were joking yesterday. He said, how can one human being be paid over 40 million just to talk for 5 hours? $92,000. He said, Hyeladi, I'll get there. I said, yeah. I said, all things are no longer possible. All things are done if you believe. So Buffett said his earning is always, and I've read his biography. I mean, forget this short clip. I've personally read the biographies of most of the top 10 richest people on the planet. And he said that anytime he's experiencing a downtime in his income, I mean, he's not making the kind of money. All he doesn't go back to work hard on the business. He go back to work hard on himself.
Wow.
And that thing touched me. Doctor, anytime I'm not making any more money, I don't go and work in my business. I don't work on my business.
Wow.
I go back to work more on myself.
Wow.
Listen to what he said.
That is so true. Look at successful people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Oprah, Mark Cuban, and any other highly successful human. They are successful because they use their time right. They are successful because they are lifetime learners.
Why are these people successful? Because they are lifetime learners. Period.
They commit to learning new things every single day. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest humans on the planet, is famous for reading more than 5 hours every day.
Do you get that, Doc?
Yeah.
I used to tell my student in Progenesis that time, I said, the first day when I saw this, I went to my corner and I knelt down and I wept. I said, God, I have a problem. I don't know if you guys have problem, but to be very honest, I have a problem. Why? If Warren Buffett, being one time the richest human being on the planet for over 10 years, is reading for more than 5 hours
every day,
every single day, what about me that ends as very successful as he is? I said, God, I'm supposed to be reading for 40 hours every day. Because this is someone that have the kind of result that I don't have yet.
Yeah.
And this is what he is doing. I said, I have a problem. Do you know, I watched a documentary of Jeff Bezos. This Jeff Bezos, you know, this guy Jeff Bezos of Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
Yes. They asked Jeff Bezos, they say, how is it all of a sudden nobody saw you coming? Boom, you become the richest man in the world. He said one day he went out, he spent an evening with Warren Buffett. He said that evening changed his life. He said when he came back, you know what he does? He not only does he read for more than 5 hours a day, but he employ other people. Their duties are, the only work they do is to sit down and read and comprehensively, you know, summarize the books for him. And he allocates some certain hours for them every single day where they will come and be teaching him the summary of what they read from those books.
Wow. Wow. Personal development.
Yes. Remember, we said the essence of this training is to envelop those talents, just like the sculptor carve out the unwanted part of the tree and brings out the beauty. You know, that's the same thing. You study so that you can bring out that which is already in you. I wonder how people want to be successful in business without being successful First, you know, the way the world works is that the Bible said the invisible things have their root of God, have their root from what? The visible things have their root from the invisible.
Invisible.
Yes. Except for the invisible things of him is clearly made visible through his creation. So how do we make visible our gift, our talent, our virtues into the marketplace? We live in a material world. The world is a show glass.
Yeah.
So the invisible aspect of you need to be seen in this world. So you need to hone your skills every day by studying so you will not be ashamed. But that's not what a lot of people do, doctor.
Bill Gates reads one book per week.
That is not true, by the way.
Mark Cuban, 3 hours a day. They stop believing in themselves. Never stop believing in your failure is if you stop trying. Make it into reality.
Push yourself to become the person you are destined to become. If you want to get results you have never got before, you are going to have to do things you have never done before.
I wish we have enough time. We're going to create an action plan whereby you see everything. If you're on this call right now, I want you to hear me very well. You see, and I told some group of people, I told them here in Dubai, you know, in the training I was doing, I said, if by any reason, this is 2021, you found yourself doing the same thing as the things you have done last year, just know that you are doomed to repeat 2020 in 2021. Most people are excited about having a new year. I see a lot of people say me Happy New Year, but I said there's nothing. When I check your life, there's nothing new about the year. There's nothing new in your life. Write this down. All knowledges cannot create new results. All way of doing things cannot produce new different realities. I tell myself, how do I know when I'm growing is when I find myself doing things that I don't used to do before. But when I find myself doing things that are inconvenient, anytime I see myself doing, you know, an unfamiliar activity, that is when I know that I'm pushing myself to grow. But anytime you're doing anything that you see yourself doing something that is familiar in your experience, just know that you are reliving your experience over and over again.
Wow.
The reason why you see a lot of people are the same, just like the way you know them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, is because there are no new information. People are coming into this new year 2021. Some are doing cross overnight. Some are proclaiming different things, how it's going to be different. Nothing will change unless you change. And the last time I checked, they've not learned anything new that is different from what they knew before to power their actions, especially this year 2021. So my question for you is, what did you learn? What have you known? What have you learned that is different from what you've known before? Because Albert Einstein said insanity, and I checked the word insanity. The word insanity means a complete state of madness. He said insanity is doing the same thing over and over and hoping to have a different outcome. You know, when they ask it, they say what God cannot do does not exist. By the grace of God. We know there's a grace of God. We all live by the grace of God. But you know, people have used those words as their escape.
Escape.
Yes. Listen to this thing.
The richest man in the world, Bill Gates, was once asked which superpower he would like to have.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
They asked Bill Gates, they said, what superpower would you like to have? If you can wave a magic wand and one thing will manifest and one thing that you desire will happen of all the things that you want in your life, what one thing will you want to have? Will you wish to have? You see, if you ask me, I used to tell my friends and my students in the classes then, I said, you know what? I would say the ability to make too much money. But you know what? What the successful people sees are not the same thing that the unsuccessful people sees. And the most unfortunate part is that what they see, the principles are abundant. The practice is possible for a common man like me and you. It's just that the question is not if whether we know it, but it's the question of whether we're going to practice it. Because what I figured out is that many people know what they want, they know what to do, but oftentimes they don't do what they know. See, they say, what superpower would you like to have? See what he said.
The richest man in the world said that he would want the ability to read books faster.
Self-development. As in business, as in life, so is in business. You don't get what you want. You get what you deserve.
Wonderful.
And you get who you are.
Wow.
Because what you deserve is who you are. The question is, who are you? It is disrespectful to desire a result of someone who is willing to do the work for which you refuse to do the same work. Oftentimes, doctor, in all this little, these things that we do, you travel a lot of places, everybody say, hey, I want to be like you. I want to have what you have. They see you drive brand new cars, doing this, traveling around the world, doing this. They say, everybody say, hey, you know what? I want to be like you.
Yeah.
Just like, what happened? Mary, when the woman that came and met Jesus and said, if it's possible that in the last day, the two of my children, one shall sit on your left and one on your right.
Mm-hmm.
People want to get the result without paying the price.
Yeah. Easy way.
People want to get the fire without putting in the wood. Self-development. If you ask me, Hyeladi, what's your work? People, I find it difficult right now because I'm not actively right now involved in anything. Actively, like I have a lot of businesses. So what I do now, I just said, I choose a career. That's why I changed my career. I said, I now choose my path. I said, listen, the only thing right now I do in my life is to sit down and study. One rich man told me something in the US. He said, Hyeladi, if you study, the whole world will come to you.
If you study.
He said, Hyeladi, if you study,
yeah,
the world will come to you because there is a law in the invisible realities. One of the laws we know, we said the law of gravity, right? Anything that comes up must surely come down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you throw something up, it must be attracted toward the center of gravity. He said everything on earth is attracted toward the center of knowledge.
Wow.
Everything. And I can attest to that. I don't work as hard as many people do, I mean physically. But I study more than any human being I know. Of course, I can't talk about you. I know you do much more. But so far that I know.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's deep. The center of gravity when it comes to life and wealth is knowledge. Yeah. So get it and everything gravitates towards you. That's too deep. Hyeladi, we're going to try to open the line while you are still because I'm so unhappy right now that I made this thing to be just like one, because we would have had about, with your permission, we would have had about 3 weeks line together, because this is just, life transforming. What you are dishing out today is what millions of naira. A lot of times people don't really understand the power of change that comes from understanding this principle. There are a lot of paradigm shifts you've made in our lives today by virtue of pushing a lot of these principles into practical format, because the point is not as if people have not had this before, but having it at that point where you are able to practicalize it, where you are able to understand what to do with it. So it's so unfortunate that we're just having this one. We're going to pray you. So give us time that you will, come to round off this. But let's now start allowing people to start, talking and asking their questions.
Sure.
So I wanted to raise your hand if you want. Okay, Phil has been itching. Phil, can you kindly unmute yourself and go ahead with your question? Phil, I appreciate you because you've been so involved in this training, and personally, I really want to know you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me?
We're hearing you very well.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you for this session. Seriously, I have been actually enjoying the program right from the start. I remembered from the beginning, our keynote speaker was talking about every self-development has to do with decision. Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and okay. There's this point I actually want to get more light on it. As an entrepreneur, I believe ideas regards to the scope of interest is also key to self-development. Ideas regards to scope of interest is also key to self-development. The question is, where do ideas come from, and how can you sift those ideas to channel it to self-development to get the desired outcome?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, Brother Philip. It's a pleasure to have you on the call. Thank you so much. And if I understand you, you're talking about your question is directed towards like the source of ideas, where those ideas come from, right? And how then, when those ideas come, how are you able to ascertain which one is the best one or not, right? And move towards that direction of the one that probably. So I don't know if I get you right, Philip.
Yeah, that's what he asked. That's his question.
Yes. Yeah, but I just want. Okay. It's like he's not okay. All right, Phillips. Yeah, I just want him to respond. That's all.
Okay, Philip. Philip, can you unmute yourself and respond, please?
That's right, sir. That's the question I asked. You get me right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's powerful, brother. All right. The reason why, and I just want to be a bit practical with you. All right. Now, there are moments in my life, and based on what I do, being able to go through a lot of people's businesses on a weekly basis, sometimes on a monthly basis, and sometimes at the point when I meet people, at the level they are in their business, and I recommend that they study one or two things that I recommend regarding that business. Sometimes, like I went for a board meeting recently, and I said that this meeting, because they asked a question. I remember I said something in the beginning. I said the best teachers are not those who give you answers to your questions.
Yeah.
But are those who help you find your own answers
to
your questions. So I suspend the board meeting. So because I already have the answer for what they're looking for, of course. So I get some books that relates to that particular thing. And I ask everyone to go and read the book. So we reconvened. And the next time we met, what was once a challenge is not even a challenge at all. How? What happened is that I told you something earlier, Mr. Phillips, that it takes knowledge to decode knowledge. It takes information to process information. So the source of ideas is knowledge. The more you know more things, the more you tend to have more idea about that particular thing. And so and that's why if you look at Bill Gates, tends to read a lot of things about everything.
Yeah.
And that's why he seems to have a broader idea about anything you mention more than anybody else.
Mm.
So the quality of decisions you make is always hinged on the quality of information that you have.
Mm.
So when you know more, it means you can even make a good or quality decision based on the knowledge that you have. So here is my advice for a lot of people that want to do business. Whatever area of that business that you want to do, there are two kinds of people in this world. Those, the top 3% that are successful, that make 97% of all the money in the world, and then the 97% bottom. I mean, 75% that are poor and not successful, and the 25%, I always categorize them together. So here is what I ask people to do. Look out for the top 3% that have succeeded in whatever area or venture or idea you want to explore. Get books written by them. When you study, it will expand your mind. You will be able to see things that you ordinarily wouldn't have seen before. All right?
Yeah.
So it takes knowledge to decode knowledge.
Mm.
And information is just a computer. You know, the more you supply it with more data, the more intelligent it becomes. AI systems. All right? The more information you supply the system is, the more intelligent the system becomes. So the more, based on the information it has, the more it improves the accuracy of the likelihood of its future predictions. All right, brother Felix?
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Thank you. So I think
That's right.
so A1 is raising hands up. Can you introduce yourself and ask your question, please?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Hyeladi, good evening, Dr. Cussons.
Your microphone.
Are you hearing me?
We're hearing you now.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Cussons.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Hyeladi. I am Benedict.
Okay.
I'm Benedict. While Mr. Hyeladi Haruna was speaking, he talked about the think and growth, and he said there were 16 principles that was originally written by Napoleon Hill. But the world order have reached the book to 18 principles. Could he help us where we will be able to find the 3 other principles that are not contained?
Well, we are not hearing you really. Hyeladi, are you getting him?
Not really, but I think.
Okay. You can decode what he's saying.
What you can do? Yes, I can decode, but you need to. Can we mute everybody, and then unmute him, and only probably. Okay.
Yes, everybody.
Because it's like this interference always happens when you are logging with 2 devices and around the same place.
I think the microphone is on it. Okay, Brother Benedict, can you please write it down, please? Can you write it on the chat box, please? Okay. So let's take another person while you write it down. Okay. Felix Eteje, can you go ahead, sir? Felix, Mr. Felix, please, can you go ahead?
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. What I just want to find out from you is whether we, at the end of this lecture, we are going to have the summary, and I want to we'll have whether we'll have so that we can make it over.
No problem. You have you have a replay, okay? Go to, you know, if you want to have a replay, please I'm going to write it on the chat box. You go to that website and then register there, scbsedu.org. I'm writing it down, scbsedu.org/success algorithm TV. So that register there, so that when we send the replay, you're able to get it. Because I don't know where you saw this ad, you came in. So, but join what we call the newsletter. So we're able to, anything we send can come to you. scbsedu.org/success algorithm TV. Okay. I've just sent it to the chat box so that you're able to go to that place and just fill the small form there. Okay. Thank you. Okay, now any other person, please. Let's see if he has. We're going to close by 9:45. So please, if you have your question, please try and ask those questions. Hyeladi is not somebody you have every day, so it's good you make very good use of this opportunity. Okay. So, Benjamin or Benedict, have you been able to write it down so that Hyeladi could help us? So, other people here, you have any question, you kindly unmute yourself so that he can take your question. Otherwise, if you don't have question in the next 60 seconds, then we allow him to start winding off by actually giving us one or two more of those principles as he tell us a few more stories and round up, because he's a busy man, but we've held him. So if you have any question, kindly ask your question. Do you have any question? Yeah? Okay. Somebody seemed to have asked question. Okay. Luca Gray asked, good evening. He said he will give us principles. Has only given one. Yeah, he will. He will try to see. You saw him mentioning he spent 45 million naira, $92,000 to speak for 5 hours. So it doesn't come out that cheap, but he will try to see if he can just dish out one or two more. Okay, Chikezie, raising hands. Bro, okay. Can you unmute yourself, sir, and ask your question? Is it okay, please? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to ask everybody, I would love to read as much as is being prescribed tonight, but what's the simplest way of improving speed reading and comprehension?
Okay, sir. Hyeladi, you got the question.
Yeah, I get it. It's very intelligent stuff. And where do you base, sir?
Abuja.
Here in Abuja.
Awesome. Okay, I bought a course, very expensive course that cost me a lot. And because of this question, I see you have a lot of desire. You have high desire to want to do that. So I will give it for you free when I come back. Maybe you get it from Dr. Kali.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Let's clap for Hyeladi. Hyeladi has given me books worth more than 500,000. You know, every day he gives me books like $250 and $150, $1,500. You know, Hyeladi, God will continue to bless you. Thank you very much. And the guy you did this for is my uncle. Okay, he's my big uncle. Yes. Very much.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, he would love it. Yeah.
You see,
actually, there are two things.
Okay, sir. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
No, yeah, sorry. Yeah, because there are two things that people did not decode in the video.
Yeah.
One, Bill Gates study for at least 5 things, at least 5 books on one thing.
Yeah.
And second, the importance of that's in fact part of the principle that I always share about. All right, is one of the principles of speed reading, how to increase your comprehension. You know, because until the rate at which you learn is faster than the rate at which change takes place, you will be obsolete.
100%.
In no time.
100%.
Yes. So that is why when I see someone like Bill Gates, in fact, part of the interview, he said he took a speed reading course. I saw Antonio Robbins taking a speed reading course. I said, Hyeladi, who the hell are you? So right now, I'm even developing a course. I'm developing a course right now on speed reading and comprehension.
Wow.
I've done over 40% of the work.
I'll be your first student. So I'll be your first buyer. Oh dear. Thank you very much. Now, somebody made an important point. He said he's dying to get more of these principles, but you gave only one. Is it possible we could have one or two more before he go? But let's Phil raise hands again. Let's just take Phil maybe as the last person, and then you give us one or two more principles, and then we get out. Phil, can you go ahead?
Yeah.
Hello, Phil.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
No problem.
I actually am battling with something that I want more clarification from our resource person.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. I want him to actually please highlight the importance of balance between career and entrepreneurship, because you see, though he might not remember, there is a program he once anchored and I followed him. He was talking about, having your career and also being an entrepreneur at the same time. So I want you, sir, if you can actually highlight how to have a balance, because we have some people that actually have a career that they have already somehow built and they want to venture into entrepreneurship. So how do we have a balance in terms of, priority and other things that has to do with such? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Philip. It's good to have you back again. I think you've actually answered this question. When it has to do with the issue of, striving a balance between career and entrepreneurship, even though our topic today is directed toward, personal development for personal, career and then business success, which is the same in line with probably the same thing that you're asking, brother. So what I'm trying to say is that it's something that you've already answered. It's an issue of priority. And it's not something that probably someone can want to answer for you. And the reason being very simple. Maybe somebody, and oftentimes I tell people, even in most programs, I said there are three ways you have to leave your job someday. All right. Now, number one, you retire. Number two, you are fired. Number three, you quit. All these things will happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. One of these three will happen. So, but if you prepare before you leave, we call it transit. All right?
Yeah.
And here is the thing. The ability, that you have to transit, it depends on, that's what I'm just saying about your priority. For example, I met someone that have a job. He's very successful in the career. And for him, he liked the career more than even the side business that he's doing. And it's okay. So long as probably what he does will serve him in the end. And to some people, they don't love what they do that much, but they have not reached a stage yet that they can do without it. In other words, so this is what I tell them. I said, listen, it's okay while you're doing this, create some small time. Don't quit your job. Don't stop what you're doing. Do it, but part-time. Create something. And it happened to me. Even yesterday, I was with the vice president of a very big company, worldwide. That yesterday he took me around and we were talking, and I was sharing with him the same thing. He was asking me, he said, Hyeladi, why won't you come and be with us? We want you here. Come and be with us, all right? He's my very good friend. I tell him, I say, well, at this stage, it's not like I have all the things that I want, but I don't think it's necessary. And the reason why is that it's a moment in my life also that I had to pass through. But sometimes I was active in one thing, but what I was doing, I didn't like it that much. So in this way, in this regard, I will target, let's say it's my career. It was my career. But I like what I do now more than that. But I can't leave that thing to come direct and start doing what I'm doing now. So what I had to do was to look around. And while I was actively working, I take some time to build this. It's a part-time, it's a sacrifice. In other words, it means at that point, I didn't have much time. So I was building my life, gradually. And I was getting small money. Nothing compares to what my career was generating for me, but it was okay. But when I reach a stage when my side, what I call now plan B, which is what I do now, gives me more money than my career, then I quietly, reluctantly, I left what I was doing, what I call so-called career at that time, to the things I do right now. So I think, Brother Philip, it's an issue of priority and to look whether you want to do what you do at the moment. Because I asked some people, I said, if they add 20 years or 30 years to what you do right now, of an honest truth, would you still have energy and time to do what you're doing?
Yeah.
And the answer, if you were like me, the question is no. And even if you are even given a chance to do it, would you want to do it? The answer is no. Then what do we do? That is when the importance of being an entrepreneur, of entrepreneurship, come into play. Start something while you're doing something. You don't start with the essence to succeed. The reason why a lot of people fail in business is because they start business with a goal to win. It's okay to win, but listen, failure is part of success. Most Africans fear failure so much that they never try anything new. And so what I figured out is that be open, because what you're doing can be able to absorb that failure. That's why it's important to start something while you are actively working, building your career. The reason why a study shows why a lot of people after retirement died within their first 6 to 7 years is because all your life you've been to school, you finish, you study your career for another 35 years. By the time you're 65, you retire. All your life, you've never built any business. You've never done anything. And all the money that is given to you at the retirement, you take it to move in order to start a business. You cannot win. Because one of the laws of business says that you must fail before you succeed. How else can you be wise? Wisdom comes from failure. The relative experience that you have, both from winning and failure, that's what makes you wise. According to Socrates, he said wisdom is developed through suffering, through failure, challenges, all those things that people have. And that's why in Africa, for example, I'm always against people that say you will not fail. Because even in the Bible, I have studied the Bible cover to cover for more than 10 times. I've studied Quran over more than 15 times. And I can tell you for a fact, the Bible never promised, God never promised that you will not even fail. He said, though the righteous man failed 7 times, he will rise again. It means even as a righteous man, you are entitled to at least 7 times of failure. So when someone tells you that you will not fail, just know that they are lying to you. Don't believe them, believe God. But here's the thing. Your career will always give you a chance to fail on your entrepreneurship. And then you get the required wisdom. And what happens is that every experience you get becomes a capital for your next venture. Because one way to win is to fail. Because when you fail, you now know one way it doesn't work. So the issue of balance has to do with priority and timing. At what stage in your career are you? And how much time do you have? Or how much time do you want to materialize some certain level of, success in your entrepreneurship journey? So for me, I think that's what I think, brother. That represents my perspective.
Thank you very much. I think Benedict talked about Think and Grow Rich, the 3 remaining principles that was removed from the book, sir. He said, okay, there principles that were removed and published. So you wanted to see if you can give him some of the other principles.
Yes. I think it's not important to worry about the principle as much about the message.
Yeah.
Because if I can list all the principles for you without the right message that explains the principles, it's useless. But here's what I will encourage you. Go and read that book at least 40 times. I remember I was doing an event in Hilton and I invite one of my mentors in the US and he came with his mom. So when the mom came, she held the book. He's a super multimillionaire in dollars. And then she saw a young guy holding the book and she said, son, I want you to read this book. You know what the guy said? He said, Mom, I've read this book. And she said, no, son, you haven't read this book. And the guy was angry. He said, no, Mom, are you there? I told you that I've read this book. And she said, no, son, if you have read this book, I would have seen it on you.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
So at what point do you know that you have read the book until the word becomes flesh in you? The proof of knowledge is an outcome. Until what you know produce what you desire, all you have is an illusion of knowledge. So read it to the point that you begin to materialize those principles. Even Napoleon Hill refused to talk about the direct principles in Think and Grow Rich. He said, when you are reading, they will be jumping out one after the other. But if we had time, I would have told you dozens of it. But I think till next time, I know most of us, some of us, our span is not the same. Our learning, span.
Yeah.
All these things. So we have to look at it. But it's awesome to be here, even though we're just starting. And I just want to know from one or two persons, I want you to tell me what you learned, what stood out for you today. And then probably, Doctor, if with your permission, I'll hand over to you, then we'll do. Those two people, tell me what you learned from today. I mean, from this session. What stood out for you?
Yeah, go ahead, guys. Yeah, what have you learned? Unmute yourself. Or you raise your hand and unmute you. Okay. Musa, you want to say? Okay. Felix, go ahead.
What I've learned today is that you have to acquire knowledge. That the knowledge that you have acquired will show you the way to make the work you so desire. Without knowledge, you cannot achieve anything. So knowledge is essential. Every plan, every desire that every desire. That's what I've learned.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Musa, can you go ahead? What have you learned?
Okay, sir. First of all, I was really challenged to do more.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I learned about business. Like business take shape of the mind of the creator. So everything about business, when a business is going wrong, that means the creator have a problem. So the whole thing depends on the creator. And then justifying your situation will not change your life.
Wow. Wow.
And then I also learned evidence of wisdom is in the product. To show you've read a book or you know about something, that means it's in the product that you're able to develop from what you've learned or acquire.
Wow. Wow. This one is a bridge version of Hyeladi. Can you believe it? Because your business takes the shape of your mind. Can you just believe it, Musa? I think in the next 9 months we are going to feature you here because the way you are going.
Very true.
Oh,
very true.
Wow. Another person wanted to say something. Okay, Uncle, okay, please.
Okay.
Can you go ahead, sir? Uncle, okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I think I just learned why Nigeria is poor.
Wonderful.
Because they say that if you want to hide anything from Nigeria, put it in a book.
Simple.
So because we're not reading, that's why we are where we are.
That's true.
And since some of us have discovered this, I mean, if you have to read 5, 6 books on a particular item, it's like you're looking at the 6 dimensions of that particular item.
100%.
And there's no way you won't get white eye. So God helping us, I think we have to key into this program and see how God can transform us.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Powerful.
Thank you.
Powerful.
Clifford,
By the way, you know, Doctor,
sorry, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
I said, when I went to Israel,
yeah.
part of what I saw was that these people have no any natural resources. All day, I went to Japan, Germany, all I see is that they're exporting a byproduct of knowledge. Nothing. Only the byproduct of knowledge. That's all. Thank you, guys. That's great. That's great. Okay, yeah, Mr. Matthew,
a few more people, please. We have a few more people. I don't want to stop anybody. Oh, sorry there.
Okay.
I think we have Phil. Phil, can you go ahead quickly?
Clifford.
Thank you very much, sir.
Phil has unmuted himself already.
Yeah. Yes. One of the things I learned this evening actually is you cannot build it, you build yourself.
Simple.
So whatever you see and you want to build, first you need to build yourself, become equipped with all the ideas, with all the wisdom, with possibly all the materials that you need to build yourself, after which you can be able to build whatever you presumed in your mind that you want to build.
Wonderful.
And one of the things that actually is so much blessing to me now is when the resource person talks about success is not limited to location. I was actually, because it has become a kind of confused thing in my mind. I was thinking, you know, these successful people must have traveled somewhere to get the connection they need. But I come to understand after this long, interesting discussion, to understand that success is in the mind.
Yeah.
You developed yourself, you equipped yourself with the right resources, the right material, then you look into the future to seeing what you want to become. Then you now create what you want to become, and that is the success you're talking about. So it's not limited to until you travel somewhere or something like that. The first thing is you get the right idea and you key in to the successful life.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Cliff, can you say something, Cliff? After that, Latifa and then James, then we round up. Clifford, can you?
Okay. Yeah. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay. Yeah, I want to really appreciate Mr. Hyeladi Haruna. He's my super mentor. I thank him. So many things stood out for me this evening, and one of which is that that what I have that is possible for me to lose, but what I become, that is the only thing I keep. That is, success depends on who I become. That is, I need to define myself, going back to my origin, like who am I as a person. Then I work from there and develop myself. That personal development is key for me to achieve anything that I want to achieve. And another thing that stood out for me is that I'm around people that are wealthy, people that are more successful in life, and I should learn to ask questions rather than talking, because I learn more by asking questions rather than saying things that will not really help me to grow. That arrogance is the greatest liability of a poor man. That I should be humble. I'm always ready to learn. That if I study, the whole world will come to me.
Simple.
That means personal development is key in my growth. For me to move from one stage to another, from stage 0 to stage 1, then I must be ready to learn. And I must be ready to change that part of decision. That if I don't decide, it's easy to say it, but if I don't decide to kill the other part of me to develop myself. I cannot move from one stage to the other. So I really appreciate Mr. Hyeladi Haruna for this session. It's been amazing, and I thank the organizers too for putting this together. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Uncle Cliff. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're
Hello,
going
good evening.
yeah, go ahead. Somebody wanted to talk.
All right. My name is Nando.
Oh, sorry. Is it James? James, can you unmute yourself?
No, this is still.
Oh, is it Clifford?
Yes. Clifford is not actually alone. He's with a friend. So he's a previous friend.
Go ahead. Sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So like I said, my name is Nandom, and I'm actually glad to be a part of this meeting. He just called me, and I've learned a lot. So a lot of things stood out for me. First of all, I know for you must first of all become a millionaire before you first get the check in your hands. And for you to do that, you must build yourself personally. Now, I studied architecture, and I realized that there wasn't a time that they brought a professor of medicine to come and teach us anything.
Yeah.
Why? Because in the field of architecture, he doesn't know anything. So for you to become that successful person in that field, you must study and build yourself in that field. Now, one time Bishop Oyedepo traveled to US, and when he came back, he brought bags of books, and the wife was like, "Why you didn't buy me books? You didn't buy me shoes or clothes?" And he told her one thing. He said, when the contents of these books are comprehended, you will become the manufacturer of things that you should have bought. So when the boss was speaking earlier today, a lot of things were clicking for me, and I said, I'm in the right place. So that's just the secret of personal development. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Thank you, guy. You're just awesome. Oh, great. Wow, Clifford is friend. Okay, James Daniel, can you go ahead, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for putting this up. I really learned a lot. But then what really stood out actually was I had it like a challenge was thrown at me. Understand? When I kind of throughout this year I said I was going to go into personal development.
Yeah.
I did 2 hours a day. So when I saw the video and they said Bill Gates is reading 5 hours, and I said, if someone is the richest man in 5 hours, and me, my broadcast is reading 2 hours a day, like it's not really encouraging. In fact, right now, I have to step up.
Yeah.
I have to step up. Thank you very much, Mr. Hyeladi, for throwing up that challenge. I have to step up. 2 hours is not just for me. I have to step up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hyeladi, one more last word from you. I think sorry, Latifa is a please I think Latifa say something.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so firstly, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. Like, I've learned a lot, and then I've always thought that I was too busy to read books. And I just learned that for someone like Bill Gates to read short books in a day, like, what have I been doing? I think I've been busy doing nothing.
Oh dear.
So I have to start reading.
Yeah.
So, and then the key takeaway from this whole session for me is the more you learn, the more you earn. So I'm going to start learning a lot so I can earn a lot. Thank you very much. It was awesome. Yeah, I had a good time.
Thank you. Hyeladi, maybe one last word from you, Hyeladi, so we can just call it a day. Hyeladi, you want to say one last word? Your microphone is off. Your microphone is off.
Said, oh, sorry, I didn't know that. I said the summaries are very mind-blowing and very perfect. It just indicate that we've been together. And especially just want to add lastly before I go with to what this guy was saying, the architect, all right?
Yeah.
And there is this short video that I've also done. It's a program that I did in a church. It's on my Instagram, all right, that talks about the same thing. So maybe, brother, if you want more information about that particular.
What's your Instagram handle, please?
Yes, sir?
Your Instagram handle?
No, it's Hyeladi Haruna.
Hyeladi Haruna.
It's Hyeladi Haruna.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I think it's there. So, okay. So, brother, are you there? So this is what I said in the video, but you can see it on Hyeladi Haruna, Hyeladi Haruna, just my name.
Yes. Okay.
On Instagram.
Okay.
So I said that,
yes, I'm here.
that if you want to be a doctor, you study medicine. If you want to be a lawyer, you study law. If you want to be an accountant, you study accounting. If you want to be wealthy, study wealth. Be a student of wealth. The problem why that thing will not be taught in our school is because how many of our school teachers are wealthy people? So find some wealthy people, and I tell you, you can get it. At least you have a very great mentor here, Dr. Kali, all right? And even in your life and some of the books that you have, get things that are books that are written by successful people and embody the ideas that they wrote in those books. Stay on it, brother. If you doubt that it ever works, look at my life. You know, no advantage, no connection. I don't know anybody. I'm from Nigeria like you. Now people fly me all over the world, you know, pay me huge amount of money, lodge me in the best hotel around the world just to come and talk. It works, brother.
Yeah.
Everything works. But nothing works unless you walk. Behind every movement, there is a mover. It is by far an intricate design of nature that success is a condition that must be attracted and not be pursued. We achieve results and we make progress not by the intents of our pursuit, but by what we become. For it is what we are that finally determine the result that we attract. Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Oh, please, round of applause for Hyeladi. Hyeladi, thank you very much. We've never given anybody this amount of time, but we gave you this time because, in fact, if it's for me alone, if I'm the only person here, you aren't going anywhere till 1 a.m. today. You know, because you are just awesome. You're just awesome. Thank you so very much. Please, we appreciate you. We can't pay you, but we are going to bring you here again. Now, for all the guys who those who are online in all the social media handles and all those Facebook, Instagram, and all those, we appreciate you so much. That link you used to come in, just 7:30 every Monday. You can just click on that link and then you are in class. Then if you want to have replays of this, go to scbscdu.org /success algorithm TV. I put it up there some time ago, and register there so that you can be on the newsletter, and we are able to send you the replay. This replay can be sold for 500,000 naira. This replay can be sold for anything, but we are offering you free because Hyeladi offered it free. So Hyeladi, we thank you. You've just given us at least 3 million naira worth of value, at least 3 million naira worth of value, free, without anything. We appreciate you, and thank you for the gift you've given to my uncle, and by extension you've given to me, because by the time he's telling me to give to him, I will pick it, you know. I'll have to call you tomorrow, and we discuss. Thank you very much. Please, God bless you. We appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thank you too. All right.
God bless you so much.
I'll be on your doorstep when you receive that gift from me.